Oh, it's YouTube. Hey, Salu YouTube. How are you guys doing? I hope that your week has been great and you're hopefully not as stressed as I am. But yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Shadakes. My name is Dekemi. A lot of people call me Dakes, so you can call me Dakes. If this is your first time here, definitely welcome. And I'm happy that you're here. Remember to join the family, subscribe, like, share with your family and friends. And if you are a returning subscriber and viewer, thank you very much for coming back yet again. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're a returning viewer, but you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Why are you doing like this? Please subscribe, like, and share with all your family and friends. Today, I'm going to be talking about the things that you should do in your first week or first month when you land in France. So many administrative things, right? And it could really bog you down. But it's a question of priority, like what are you supposed to be doing first? What would affect other things if you did not do it? And I'm just going to share some, can't remember the number, probably 5 or 6 things that you should do. They're not as straightforward, or they're not all as straightforward as you might think, so you need to think about it. Most of those websites are in French. Of course, you can use like your option to translate the page if you use maybe Google Chrome or something, but bear in mind that these are like French government whatever, so they're in French and you have to deal with that. The very first thing that I think you should do when you land in France is to get your Navigo card. So this is what mine looks like. If you can see it very well. Yeah, this is what mine looks like. This is the other side. They say you should put your name, so I wrote my name here, it should be your picture. Like, I don't have any passport photo to waste, so I'm just like, you guys will be fine. Anyway, that's what mine looks like. I think there's some other types that don't look exactly like this, but the important thing is that it will have the Ile-de-France, it will have Mobilité, and yeah, Navigo. So it might not be Decouvert or whatever that's called, but it will have Navigo and whatever type of card it is under. And of course, it will have SNCF, so that's like the company that produces it. It's one of the major transport operators, train operators, whatever. I'm not sure. I think it's the same company as RATP. I'm not sure if it's run by the French government, but maybe. Anyway, this is what the Navigo card looks like, and you need to get one when you land. Of course, there are different types of cards. There are different, what's the word? Plans, I suppose. So for instance, if you're a student and you're under 26 years old, you get like 50% off the annual fee if you're paying for a year. So instead of paying maybe like 700 or 800 and something, you pay like 350 or 325, something like that. And I guess that's just a perk for like young students and all of that. But old students like us, we have to pay the normal adult rates. And yeah, so for the adult rates, I'm not really sure, like the 800 figure that I gave earlier is just like what I pay per month times 12 or whatever. But if you're paying per month, it is 75 euros per month for the 5. Please bear in mind that what I'm talking about is for Paris. For the Paris 5 zones, so Paris has 5 zones. The city center, I'll try to put a picture somewhere here that has like the zonal maps. So the city center, and then the zone after that, and then the zone after that, zone 3, and then zone 4, and then zone 5. So the people that live in the main Paris have, I think, the 75 postcode, and then outside you see like 93. You know, it just keeps getting bigger the farther away you are, that kind of thing. But anyway, so it covers the 5 zones, and of course you can use it for the big trains, the RAR. You can use it for the metro. You can use it for the buses. Yes. So any form of public transportation, essentially, you can use that card for, which makes sense because if you were buying like bus tickets on your own, or especially if you're going like outside the main city of Paris, it's going to cost you a lot. Like subway rides between Paris or within Paris is like 190. But then if you're going to maybe Saint-Denis or something, you just see like 380 or something like that. And it could really get like expensive quickly. So the best thing to actually have is to have the card. Of course, you might not have like 75 euros to drop at once. Sometimes I don't. So you can also buy the weekly unlimited pass. Bear in mind that French week starts on Monday, so it goes Monday to Sunday, midnight Monday to midnight Sunday. And I think that costs roughly 23 euros, like 22.90 something. So 23 euros essentially. And of course, it also covers all the ones that I mentioned and all the zones. You can buy for like lesser zones, maybe like zone 1 to 3 or something like that. I tried once when I was trying to save money, like, oh, I don't really go outside of Paris. And then it didn't make sense because I think the price difference was like 2 euros. And I'm like, give me the 5 zones because it's the week that I probably decide to be a cheapskate that something will go wrong and I'll need to go outside of Paris. You see that it's brighter. I forgot to turn on my lights. Anyway, talk about old students. Anyway, as I was saying, where was I? The weekly passes, yes. So you can do the weekly passes as well. I think there are also like daily unlimited passes, but I believe those are mostly tailored to tourists, like, oh, you're just passing through, you're only here for 2 days, you know, that kind of thing. But if you are in school and you have to go out like every other day, then it doesn't make sense for you to buy daily unlimited pass. I'm not even sure how much those are, but like I'm sure it wouldn't make sense. Anyway, so yeah, those are the options, and you can definitely go to the RATP website to find out the plans or more information about the plans and the amount. So if you're buying the card, the first time, if you're buying my type of card, the first time that you buy it, you would pay €5 extra. So you pay like either the month or the week that you're buying for, and then they'll charge you €5 extra for the card. But I've been told that the other card that I mentioned is at no cost. I'm not really sure how that works, but anyway, that's it. What else? Yeah, so that's it for like your transportation. Just know that, oh, because you have to, you know, try to look for banks to open your account. You go to school, you probably try to buy stuff for your new house and all of that. So it's great to have your transportation covered in advance. The second thing, you need to validate your student visa. No, the fact that you have that visa page on your passport does not mean that it's validated, right? So you need to validate your student visa on a government website. Thankfully, it's online. So you will get a document that's called the titre de séjour, something like that. Essentially, it's a residence permit because if you're coming here to school, you apply for a long stay visa, essentially. So you need a residence permit because you would work or you'd be allowed to work and blah, blah, blah. And if you were on a tourist visa or a visiting visa, you would not be able to work. So you need that, especially also if you plan to travel to other Schengen states. When you're traveling, you need that document along with your passport to show at the border to say, oh, I do not require a visa to enter this country, or my visa is still valid, you know, that kind of thing, or I have valid residence permit in France, so therefore I can enter other Schengen states. So you need to do that. That doesn't take long, maybe like 30 minutes or something. They'll ask you for, I believe, some documents, maybe like your visa number or some stuff like that, but it's nothing complex. That one you can literally do it like in a breeze and it will be sorted out. So once you get that, it will be emailed to you, so you can download it and keep it safe somewhere on your phone. You can also print a copy because you might need it for, I think, like your bank account opening and some of those other things. The third thing that you need to do is to pay your CVEC fees. I know if it's CVEC or CVEC, but I call it CVEC, not sure. Anyway, it's a French government student campus and life tax, something like that. Essentially, you're paying a tax for coming to school in France. And earlier this year, I paid 92 euros for that. And I think like the figure changes every other year with like €1, so it could reduce or increase by €1. So just bear that in mind, like you pay 90 something euros if you're coming anytime like within the next 2 years or something. So that's very important. And once you have paid that, you would also pay online. Once you have paid that, you will download the proof of payment. They will send you a receipt. So you download the proof of payment and share it with your school administration, because your school has to confirm that you have paid that tax to the French government. Number 4, you need to open a French bank account. Now, this one is a long and windy process. I think I've talked a bit about it in my video about culture shocks in France. If you've not watched that video, you don't even know what you're missing. You should definitely watch it. I'll try to link it somewhere there. But yeah, you need to open a French bank account because you need it for like a ton of stuff. You need it for, I think, proof of address. You need it for if you need to like get personal Wi-Fi for your house if your apartment does not come with, because they want to charge you every month and they need an account to charge. You need it for, I think, your electricity. Also, electricity you can actually pay by cash, but it's stressful because you didn't have to go to a post office or the bank. You will queue up, you will take the cash, they will need a physical copy of your passport. It's just stressful, and you could just easily pay it online. So yeah, there's that. You need to open a French bank account. Whatever you do, make sure that your French bank offers support in English, either English customer service or you have an English account officer or something. My neighbor's dog is barking. Can you guys hear? Okay, I'm not going to record this part because it might bark again, so what am I supposed to do? Anyway, thanks for coping with me. So yeah, you should also ask your school administration if they have partnerships with any French banks. A lot of schools do, and this sometimes gives you like maybe lesser fees because French banks charge a ton of money. I think they charge me like 45 euros or something like that for my Visa card, and I'm like, I'm a student. They were like, yeah, something. I'm like, no, this cannot be, because this was not what you told me. Please, dear, refund my money. And then they sent me one long, that was the 93-page contract that I talked about in that culture shock video. Sent me one long document to read and sign so that they could, I'm like, just to get 45 years, wow. Anyway, I will do it and you give me back my money. So there's that. And apart from that, I think they also charge like another 30 euros for account management per year. Meanwhile, the visa fees is also annual. It's not like for the validity of the card. So yeah, you're essentially going to be paying like 70 something euros to your bank every year. But if your school has maybe a partnership with a bank, or your bank has like special student products, then you could get off with a lot of savings. I think there's a bank that probably only charges, so they don't charge specifically for the card, I think, but then they charge like €1.90 every month. So if you multiply that by 12, it's still okay, because you will still be like under 20 euros. That's a long way from 75 euros. So yeah, just do your research and decide what works for you. Yeah. Number 5, register for your social security. In France or in any developed country, social security is very, very important, and you need it for a ton of stuff: insurance, CAF, that I'll get into subsequently, you need it for a ton of stuff. Like you literally just go somewhere, try to apply for something, and they'll be like, "Oh, do you have social security? What's your social security number?" And you don't want to be like, actually, at that point. So yeah, you need to register for your social security. Most likely, they'll ask you for a bunch of stuff like your scolarité. So scolarité is different from your admission letter, is different from your attestation letter. So when your school offers you admission, right, they give you an admission letter. When you pay the deposit for your fees, they give you an attestation letter that states that this person with this passport number of this age paid X amount as part of their school fees, blah, 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 and they are therefore registered in this school, something like that. So you need that attestation letter to apply for your visa, right? However, when you're applying for like most other things after you land, you need your scolarité. Scolarité says that now you have actually enrolled, like you are in the country, you have started classes on campus, something like that, like you're an actual student. Okay, so you need that. You need your birth certificate that is translated to French and stamped by either the government of your country. In Nigeria's case, that would be the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or the embassy of your country in France, right? Yeah, so you need at least those three things, I believe. You need probably a passport photo as well. You need some stuff, like when you get to the website, you would definitely see that. And then you would register online. You might take them a couple of weeks. If they might reject some of your stuff, which they did to me as well, like told me that my birth certificate was illegible, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I can't read this thing. How can you not see it? So I feel like sometimes it also depends on who is reviewing, because I remember there was a particular thing that they rejected and I re-uploaded the same file and they accepted it. I'm like, really? But yeah, so that would take a couple of weeks as well before you eventually get the provisional social security number. But then when you get your provisional number, you can then use it to register for CAF, and do like a ton of stuff. That social security number also helps you with medical insurance. In France, the system is quite different from what I'm used to in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, if you have health insurance, when you're ill, you go to the hospital, and once you can provide your insurance number or insurance card, you are treated for free. Okay? Here, it's not the reverse, but it's different. You go to the doctor, you are treated, you pay for your visit and your treatment, and then you request a refund from the government. Okay, so I think what that does is you have to have a doctor on file that would probably also send a document to the government or the social security people confirming that they're your doctor, so you can't just fabricate. And of course, if they're confirming that they're your doctor, they have to be licensed to work in France or work for a licensed hospital, that kind of thing. So there's that. So yeah, social security is very important. You need to get on that ASAP. I mentioned CAF earlier, and that's the next thing that you need to do. You need to register for CAF. CAF is something. It's I can't remember what it stands for, but essentially it's like support for families and rent and whatever from the French government. So you register, you tell them your situation. They have a simulation tool on the website where you can also see how much you might be entitled to per month. So they ask you a bunch of stuff like, do you have French parents or parents that have French citizenship? Do you get any support from your parents? How much do you earn per month? What kind of house do you live in? Do you live alone? What's the size of the house? Do you own the house or are you renting? Just a bunch of stuff to try to understand like your financial situation and how much of your actual rent amount the government will pay for you per month. However, you can't just go and just fabricate an address or whatever and do that, because there is a document that is supposed to be signed and stamped by your landlord as part of your application to say that, oh, we actually rented this place to this person, and whatever information that is on that file has to tally with what you have claimed as per, oh, they live alone, this is the size of the house, this is the amount that they're paying, stuff like that. So you do that. Between when you start applying to when you actually finalize your application could take a couple of weeks. Some people take months because CAF can stress you out. They will just be sending you like physical letters up and down to that address. Like, if you like, put address and don't be leaving there. All your communication will be going there. Even though they'll be like, oh, you can reply on your online account. I'm like, so why didn't you just send me a message on my online account? But apparently, I guess they're trying to figure out that you are still in that house and you're getting their letters and all of that. So they will send you a bunch of stuff. You have to show your proof of income in the last 2 years. And I'm like, when I convert my Nigerian salary, like, it's sad, right? It's like, anyway, but you have to do that. I submitted for, I think, 2021, and it submitted for 2020. They sent me another letter and said they are still waiting for my 2020 proof of income. I'm just like, can you people not just let this thing go? But yeah, that expect that. And then after you have finalized your application, I think it also takes like 1 to 2 months for you to actually get paid. For some people it's shorter, for some people it's longer, but like, I guess that's the average. And bear in mind that they will then pay you in arrears. Like, so if you've lived in the house for 6 months, by the time you get paid, they will pay you for 5 months. They will not pay you for your first month in that house. I guess maybe like you two have to do E for efforts or something. But yeah, they will not pay you for the first month, but then they'll pay you in arrears for the other months. I'm not sure. Some people get theirs like in bulk payment. Some people, they break it down. So I'm not really sure like what the modus operandi is. But yeah, apply for your CAF and it will go a long way in helping your life. Sure that you realize that these are a lot, right? So just try to get started as soon as you can so that you can start making progress. And then also you realize that some of these things are dependent on one another. So the earlier you get started, the faster you can move on to other things and not be delayed unnecessarily. Also remember to ask your school for your student ID card when you land. Some schools probably already have it ready, waiting for you. Some schools you have to wait a couple of weeks to get it. But yeah, ensure that you get your student ID. It comes with an ISIC card, that gives you discounts to a lot of stores and some online shopping, stuff like that. So that's also a perk of being a French student and having your school ID. Like, it is your school that will give you that. And yeah, so I guess it's valid for the duration of your education in that school or your enrollment in that school, that kind of thing. So yeah, do that. And please, whatever you do, keep your student card really, really safe. I don't think they replace it or something, so you have to keep it really, really safe. And it has to almost always be on you, at least when you're going to school. One, because if you ever get stopped maybe by some officials or whatever, of course nobody carries their international passport around with them. Your social security card will most likely not be ready in the next many months. So the only official thing that you have that shows that you're actually a student and enrolled here officially is that student card, because it will show like the year that you're registered for and when your session finishes or something like that. So yeah, you should definitely always have it. And then some campuses to restrict access at some point, maybe they give you like a month after resumption or 6 weeks after resumption, and then after that, if you don't have your student card on you, you cannot access the campus. So yeah, always have it on you, always keep it safe, and you'll be good. I'll include the link to the CVEC, the Social Security, the RATP website. What else did I talk about? The CAF, to the description box below. Bear in mind that if you want to buy your transport card. You can buy it at any metro station during work hours. And if you're paying for maybe like my kind of card, you're paying for the monthly or the weekly cards, you have to pay by card. So whatever you do, especially if you're coming from Nigeria, make sure that you land with a dollar card or a foreign denominated card that is funded and you can use for those payments until your French bank account is ready. Because some things you have to pay by card, and the Nigerian Naira cards don't work here 99% of the time. Even if it's within that $20 per month limit, like it just wouldn't work. I've tried it several times to withdraw, nothing. POS, nothing, like as little as whatever. So yeah, have a foreign denominated card that is funded and that you can use as well. Oh, I believe you know that I didn't have to mention that when you land, you should buy a local SIM card. Like that goes without saying, because obviously you don't want to be charged roaming fees for every phone call, every WhatsApp chat, every message that you receive or send. So yeah, buy a local card. There are different telco companies here, and they all have, I guess, their advantages and disadvantages and maybe strength of coverage. So do your research before you come so that when you land, you already know the one that you want to buy and you can easily find a store and buy that and move on with it. Back to Navigo. So you don't necessarily have to buy the card on the first day that you land or something. You can actually buy paper tickets to use for the train, the big trains, the metro, the buses. However, by the time you put all that money together, you realize that you spend a lot more than you would have if you use the card. But if you just like need to get from the airport to your apartment or whatever, and oh, I just need to sleep today and I'll sort all these things out tomorrow, then definitely you can buy paper tickets and they take cash and coins. So you don't necessarily have to pay for that with a card. You can pay you can pay with a card if you want, but they also take coins and cash and or coins and notes. And yeah, so you can do that as well. Extras, because I am nice. To register your Parisianness, if you are in Paris, then you should visit the Eiffel Tower and you should visit the Louvre Museum, especially if it's your first time in Paris. Like, how else will we know that you have arrived, that you have arrived in Paris if you do not go to the Eiffel Tower or the Louvre? So yeah, just try to do that, have some fun in the middle of this crazy period and try to settle down as much as you can. I wish you well and I hope that you found this useful. If you know anyone that is coming to France or coming to Paris, send this to them. I think this was like really tailored to, okay, no, apart from the Navigo, every other thing you still have to do wherever you land anyway. So yeah, I actually have a transport card for Montpellier, but should I show you guys? I'll put the picture. I'll put the picture here. Like, I'm too lazy to go and find it. I'll put the picture somewhere here and you can, so that you can buy like single tickets as well. I don't think they have plastic cards, or you can buy like a paper card for like 10 trips or more, something like that. So you can use it, and then every time you scan, the system shows you how many trips you have left until you're out of no trips, and then you have to buy another card. So yeah, and I think I bought that card for 10 trips for maybe 10 or 12 euros, something like that. So it's cheaper than Paris. Paris is more expensive than most other places because, you know, it's the big touristy city or whatever. So yeah, I hope that you found this useful. Please share with people, share with everybody. And like I said in my previous video, if you need help with your application or even finding a school or, you know, stuff like that, buzz me and book a consultation. Dex the consultant. Book a consultation and let's chat about it. I'll see you in my next one. Until then, have a nice time and a bientôt.